The chariot then came to the palace. Bharat escorted Sri Ram into his sacred quarters. There the Lord was served with the unlimited love of his devotees. Bharat then called Vashishta Muni to receive blessings that the royal coronation be tomorrow morning. Vashishta Muni explained exactly how it was to be done according to the Vedic principles. Waters from the 4 oceans and all the sacred rivers and lakes in the entire earth were to be there to bathe Sri Ram on his coronation. Bharat called Sugriva. During the procession to Ayodhya, Bharat not only honored Sri Ram, but also wanted to honor those who gave their lives in the service of Ram. Just behind Ram's chariot, there were approximately 9,000 beautifully decorated elephants. And the leaders of the monkey soldiers, Jambavan, Nila, Nala, Sushena, they were all upon these elephants in royal procession. Leading all of them was Sugriva. Sugriva was the king of the Kishkinda dynasty. So Ram told Bharat that you must give a royal palace to Sugriva to live in while he is here in Ayodhya, which was done. Bharat called Sugriva and told him that the coronation will be tomorrow morning. We need sacred waters from all the kunds, lakes, rivers, and oceans by that time to perform the Abhishek for Sri Ram. Now, if you remember, for Srila Prabhupada's 100th appearance day anniversary, he was bathed with over 1,000 waters from various holy places. It took sincere devotees over 2 years to collect all these waters. It was evening, and they had till sunrise the next morning to bring all these waters and more. But that was no problem for Lord Sri Ram's devotees. Because for them the only limitation that could be was the limitation of their desire to serve. And according to their desire to serve, the Lord gave them all power and strength to do anything. And because they surrendered their hearts and souls, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paripashite tesham nityavayuktanam yogakshemam vahamya. Sri Ram gave an inconceivable ability. They leaped to Ganga, to Jamuna, to all the Srovars, to all the 4 oceans. The most difficult ocean to achieve is the Arctic Ocean. That's way up at the North Pole. How to bring that water down by sunrise? Hanuman jumped up to the North Pole, and with a golden pitcher decorated with jewels, each monkey was given golden pot inlaid with jewels to collect the waters. He brought the water from Arctic Ocean. It was all duly sanctified. Sri Ramchandra was coronated as the king of Ayodhya. The Abhishek was performed, the mantras were chanted, the yajnas were done perfectly according to the Brahman's desires. Then the crown was brought. Vashishta Muni brought in the crown. This is the crown that can only be worn by the emperor of the earth. This crown was personally made by Lord Brahma when he coronated Manu as the first king of the earth. And it had been worn by the great kings of the Raghu dynasty ever since that time. Sri Ram was escorted to the magnificent throne. There, the crown of the king, which was so beautiful that words cannot describe, was placed on his head. Varuna came down to offer the Lord a garland of unfading, undying golden flowers. Anyone who were to wear that garland would never get sick and would not be subjected to any of the miseries of material existence. Indra personally came and put around Lord Sri Ram's neck a strand of elegant celestial pearls. Sita was seated beside Sri Ram. And throughout the whole kingdom of Ayodhya, there was dancing and chanting of the holy names of Sri Sitaram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, 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 Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Bhatita Pavana Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Bhatita Pavana Sita Ram. Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Bhatita Pavana Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, louder. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jaya Sita Ram. Shri Sita Ram sat upon the throne of the kingdom of Ayodhya. After days of joyous festivities, the Lord sent Vibhishan back to his kingdom, sent the leaders of the dynasty of monkeys back to Kishkinda. He turned to Lakshman and expressed his gratitude. Out of your unmotivated love for me, you suffered those 14 years in the Dandakaranya forest, practically not eating, practically not sleeping in devotion. You helped me to conquer the great Rakshasas in the jungle and to annihilate Ravana and his military in Sri Lanka. There is no words that I can express to thank you. Perhaps the greatest of virtues is humility and gratitude. We know that all virtues originate in their fullness in the Supreme Personality of God. There is no one that is more grateful than the Lord toward the service of His devotees. Sri Ram expressed to Lakshman that it is my desire that you be coronated as the Prince Regent. Prince Regent means the prince who is meant to be the next king. Lakshman expressed his heart. He put his head down. Dear Sri Ramchandra, please let this not be. It is not my desire. Lakshman did not want any position. He only wanted service. On the request of Lakshman, the coronation of Bharat as the Prince Regent was conducted. Together, Sri Sitaram remained in Ayodhya, along with his dear brothers Lakshman, Bharat and Satrughna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Dasarat and Kaushalya, ruled the kingdom of Ayodhya for 11,000 years. But one day, an insignificant washerman was criticizing that why does Ram keep Sita? She spent time with another man. And Lord Sri Ramchandra, he established Ramraj, that a leader must be above suspicion and have the faith of his citizens. And he has to be willing to make any sacrifice for the benefit of the citizens of the world. That is a real leader. So Lord Ram told Lakshman that I must banish Sita into the forest for the rest of her life. Some people cannot understand this, and there are different levels by which the Acharyas is explained. Lord Ram wanted to establish the principle of a king. For the sake of leading an impeccable life of decency, morality, and spirituality, a leader is obliged to make any sacrifice to maintain the faith of his integrity before his citizens. This is very rare in the political arena all over the world in this day. There is so much corruption, so much secrecy and everything. And that is one of the reasons the world is in chaos. People have hardly any faith in their leaders. If you want Ram Raj, you have to have a king who's a pure devotee of Ram, guiding everyone in pure devotion to Ram. But in a democracy, that can never take place unless all of you become devotees of the Lord. So, Ram approached Lakshman and he said that I want to tell Sita that I'm going to send her on a nice holiday to the beautiful, beautiful hermitage of Valmiki Muni to spend some time. And she will be very happy to go. But when she arrives in Valmiki Muni's ashram, then you must tell her that she can never return. For the sake of maintaining the confidence of my citizens, I must exile her for the rest of her life, so she will never see me again. Lakshman's heart was broken into millions and millions of pieces to hear of this. His life and soul was simply to accommodate and facilitate the wonderful pastimes between Sita and Ram. Lakshman was driving the chariot, and Sita and her maidservants were in the back. And as he was driving into the forest deeper and deeper, and they were approaching Valmiki's ashram, Lakshman was just restraining himself in every possible way to keep his emotions within. Yet at a certain time, she could understand his heart. She could understand what was taking place. She was so innocent and so pure, and her love was so perfect. She asked Lakshman, "Why is it? We are just going on this nice holiday. Why are you weeping? What is this that it's breaking your heart?" And he had no words to speak. It was impossible. But somehow, with great effort, he had to tell her. But he couldn't. She said, "Is it, Lakshman, that I am being exiled for the rest of my life away from my beloved Ram? Is that where you are taking me?" And Lakshman, choked up and weeping, he said, "Yes." Sita's heart broke beyond the comprehension of any mortal being. And with tears of pure love for Ram in her eyes, she spoke words that have brought immortal wisdom to the whole world. She said, "Lord Ram is my life and soul. To please him and to serve him is the only purpose of my life. If me bearing this unthinkable suffering for the rest of my life in separation from him, if this is what pleases him, if this is what I must do to best serve him, then I will gratefully accept this banishment until I leave this world." This is Bhagavad Dharma. Whatever we do in life, we must know it is a reality if it is done for the pleasure of the Lord in the service of the Lord. Bhoktaram jagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatpamam shantim richchati. Krishna declares this to be the peace formula. One who understands that Krishna is the supreme proprietor of everything that exists and that everything is meant for his satisfaction, and he is the best well-wishing friend of all, that person can achieve real peace, supreme peace. Sita Devi left when she was pregnant, and it was in the ashram of Valmiki Muni that she gave birth to Lav and Kush, who were the two most powerful and devoted acharyas, who were the very persons who narrated Sri Ramayana as they had heard from Valmiki Muni. So we should know that This standard of devotion is what we should all be striving for. This standard of devotion is what will bring real happiness and purpose to our life. And that is the purpose of this Krishna consciousness movement. To teach people how to make their lives truly successful and blissful by not longing or aspiring for any of the pleasures of this world, but aspiring for the service of the Lord. And this is the gift that Srila Prabhupada gave to everyone. And he was especially anxious that the people of India take this gift, because it is your spiritual heritage. Nandigram is a place of both the bitterest extent of separation as well as the most joyous exhilaration of reunion in the Leela of Sri Ramchandra. So, as Krishna is eternally performing his divine pastimes in Vrindavan, similarly, Ayodhya is not of this world. The Lord Ram appeared in Ayodhya. The Ayodhya of Vaikuntha, the spiritual world, descended with him. This is the eternal abode of Sri Ramchandra. It is the place where Sri Ram is performing his eternal pastimes. And those who have the spiritual vision to see it are able to appreciate it. Of course, these days in Ayodhya, there's all kinds of famous activities going on. But beyond it all, it is the transcendental pastimes of Sri Ram and Sita that are always being enjoyed by those pure-hearted devotees in this holy place. Of course, these days in Ayodhya, there's all kinds of famous activities going on. But beyond it all, it is the transcendental pastimes of Sri Ram and Sita that are always being enjoyed by those pure-hearted devotees in this holy place. Anyone who submissively and attentively hears this narration of Valmiki's Ramayana will be free from all the sins that pollute our heart and prohibit us from expressing the soul's pure and natural love for Sri Sri Sitaram. Srimati Radharani and Lord Sri Gopinath descended into this world as Sri Sri Sitaram, so that we can hear this beautiful narration and purify our hearts and once again engage in their unmotivated devotional service and find ultimate joy in serving their devotees and continuously glorifying their holy names.